Good evening and welcome. Hope that this evening finds you healthy and COVID free, and that your family is also healthy, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food and shelter and clothing are being met. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage for us to keep our places clean. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field trying to save lives. Blessings also to those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on those trying to deliver, trying to help, trying to rescue boys and girls, babies, children, teenagers, and men and women from human trafficking, sex slavery, prostitution, child pornography, molestation, and pedophilia, and curses upon those that practice and support these evil things. Finally, blessings upon the homeless, 600,000 men, women, children, and families on the streets of America tonight with no roof over their head, and millions around the world in the same or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom, and blessings also upon those that are trying to help. Also, greetings to the 12 tribes of the scattered nation of Israel, scattered into the four corners of the earth, and are now awakening according to Bible prophecy, awakening to their Holy Father in heaven and his son, Messiah, Yahushua, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Greetings. Greetings also to those that are now the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, scattered through slavery, but are seeking, as it were, to be grafted in by faith, through faith, in the line of the tribe of Judah, to the scattered nation. Greetings. Blessings also and greetings to those in the chat. I want to start off today reading 1 Corinthians chapter 13. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but 1 Corinthians chapter 13, beginning with verse 1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I am become as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, does not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. And here's the one that we really want to focus on. Rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. Today's message is going to be a little hard. But the Most High has me giving it, and the reasons being to encourage and strengthen those that rejoice in truth. Because only those that rejoice in truth are going to be saved. Only those that rejoice in truth and accept truth are going to be able to stand in Yah's kingdom, because it is a kingdom of truth. So today is to help encourage and strengthen those people, to help us in Bible study, to help us also to understand what the things we are seeing now mean in terms of Bible prophecy. A year ago in November, there was a presidential election. And the incumbent president, Donald J. Trump, had been saying for months that he was going to win this election in a landslide. And if he happened to lose, it would be because the election was fixed. So on January 6th, the election took place. And at the end of that night, there was some not confusion, but there was a couple of states where it was too close to call because the mail-in ballots had not yet been counted. The people that voted in person counted, but the mail-in ballots had not been counted. But it was projected that Joseph Biden was going to become the next president of the United States. From that point on, Donald Trump continued to say the election was fixed, that he had actually won by hundreds of thousands of votes that had not been counted or had been discarded. Inquiries were made. Investigations took place. And by December of 2020, it was officially declared that Donald J. Trump had lost the election. Now, around the country, Donald J. Trump had fierce support. As a matter of fact, he had, even by the accounts of the winners of the election, 70 million people that voted for him. Now, I'm from New York, and I have heard of or known of the Trump family for most of my life. Donald Trump's father was a white supremacist, a rich real estate white supremacist in New York. He was known to not allow anybody but Caucasians into his nicer buildings that he rented out. And he had worse buildings, those were for the people of color. He raised his son in this tradition. Donald Trump grew up in luxury, went to private schools, had his father buy degrees for him, basically, and buy his way into Ivy League schools that he would not normally get into. Donald Trump was flashy. He liked to flash his money, flash his clothes, flash his stuff. He liked women, had a lot of women, and was known around New York as somebody that would stiff his workers. Would ask work to be done and wouldn't pay, or would pay less than they agreed upon. And then when there was a problem, he would have an army of lawyers ready to sue. And nobody could catch up because they had the money and the lawyers behind him. He was also known later on to brag about how rich he was. Oftentimes, people thought he was exaggerating, but it was well known by everyone that he was a major league liar. Then he ran for president, and he was still a liar. But what caused tremendous support, first, the white evangelicals loved Donald Trump. White evangelicals in the United States, so-called white, the Caucasian evangelicals, which are what used to be called Protestants that broke away from the Roman Catholic Church and call themselves evangelicals now. They love white supremacy. They push white Jesus. They love the Ashkenazi Jews as the true Jews. And they are overall huge supporters of white supremacy. And so they love Donald Trump because one of the things they also were trying to get rid of is the Roe versus Wade abortion law that allowed a woman to have an abortion. You see, they started the abortion thing with Margaret Sanger to kill Black babies. But unfortunately, a lot of Caucasian women made use of those baby killing services. And it got to the point where their birth rates are below replacement levels in many areas. So they've been pushing this so-called this so-called sanctity of life to stop women from having an abortion. They didn't mind if Black women were doing it, or Puerto Rican women were doing it, or any other women were doing it, but Caucasian women. But the Caucasian women in their independence was killing their own babies. So in order to do that, they need a Supreme Court decision because the Roe versus Wade decision was a Supreme Court decision that gave women the right to kill their babies and call it abortion. So the white evangelicals need Supreme Court judges that were anti-abortion. That's their number one priority. And so they love Donald Trump for three reasons. And three big reasons. Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and the last one was a woman, I forgot her name, but she was also, all three of them, Roman Catholics, anti-abortion. to go along with 4 others that was on the Supreme Court that was Roman Catholic and anti-abortion. So that's why they wanted it. There were other Caucasians that wanted him simply because he come from a history of white supremacy, and they wanted to continue that because, again, they were concerned that they were going to lose their power or lose the power of white supremacy. Then there were really wealthy people that wanted him to be president because he would cut their taxes and make them pay lower taxes in both the corporate level and the individual level, and make many more loopholes to keep them rich and powerful. So he had a mass amount of people that wanted him, even though they knew he was a liar, even though they knew he had many women that he messed around with, even though they knew all of these things about him. Because of those reasons, they wanted him. To the point where they were even thinking he was really a savior. So on January 6th of 2021, the election was going to be what they call certified. What does that mean? That means the Senate gets together and they take the official count, because the United States is not run simply by who wins the most votes. It's run by what they call an electoral college. So the electors represent the votes, and the electors give their who their electors want as the president based on what their state voted to their national senator, 2 senators each state. And then they certify that that's the case, and that's the official day, even though the vote is on November 6th, or the second or the first Tuesday in November. The national day where they actually make that official is on January 6th. So between November and January, Mr. Trump and several leaders from Congress and several white supremacist leaders and white evangelical leaders and people that were scared of losing power as white supremacists were planning secretly planning an attack on the Capitol for January 6th. So the day that day came, the January 6th came, they have flew in on planes, they came in on buses, they drove in cars. They came from all directions of the United States. Tens of thousands of Caucasian, mostly Caucasian, I can say conservatively, 95% Caucasians. Conservatively, probably higher than that. Because there's always some idiots out there that trying to please their masses. But 95% was Caucasian. Most of them carrying flags from United States flags and Trump flags and white supremacist type flags. And they gathered a few blocks from the Capitol where the certification was going to take place. And there, Donald Trump came out, spoke to them, and said, this election was stolen. I am the rightful president. And they stole this election and the presidency from me. And in stealing it from me, they stole it from you. And we got to show strength. We got to go down to the Capitol and show them it's our country. And we got to take our country back. By the way, I've seen several videos on January 6th, but there's a really good one I found this past weekend that the New York Times had done. Very objective, I found, the way they put it together from all angles. Took them, many months to put together. So they really do a thorough job. Not that I always trust the New York Times, but I put the link to that video, that documentary in the description box. So if you want to see it, you can see it. It's about 40 minutes long, but gives you a good idea of what took place. But everything I'm telling you was verified by multiple sources, obviously. So they marched on the Capitol. So let's take the picture now. You got tens of thousands of Caucasian people marching, coming to the capital city of the nation, which is the most powerful nation on the planet, to go to the most important building in the planet, on the nation, the Capitol. And they said, we are coming to take our country back. They were armed. They had guns, rifles, they had sticks, they were armed. And they overwhelmed the police that was there. A couple people got killed. Much violence was done to the building. And now they're all being brought up because there was cameras seeing all of the major players. And now they're all being arrested and brought to court and judged based on what happened that day. Some worse than others. People was trying to backpedal and deny that they weren't there, but people are talking. There's too much records. And they're finding out. Now, I don't know how much punishment they're going to receive, but I just wanted to give you the overall story. And the reason I brought all this up today is because this was a mini model of what we're about to see in a few years on a worldwide scale. So let me just go over the major pieces we just talked about. You have a presidential election. You have a winner and you have a loser. The loser says he really won, that it was stolen from him. And he gets his supporters to make a plan to come and take the country and give it to him as the head. And his supporters come and descend, and he gives them a speech. And although he's a universally known liar, they believe everything he says. Why? Because they want to. Because it supports an agenda that they believe in. And they go and storm the Capitol building of the capital city of the most powerful country on the planet. In an attempt to, what they say, take our country back, and they say, stop the steal. I'm just saying what they say, because I'm not making anything up there. So how was this a dress rehearsal, a very miniature dress rehearsal of what we're about to see on a worldwide basis? Let's go over it. First off, I want to show you something. I want to show you the United States of America in the book of Revelation. Now, before we show you the United States, we want to show you what existed prior to the United States. The United States of America, by the way, I think we all understand, is less than 300 years old. Even when they started forming the colonies, it was in the 1600s, the 17th century. So, it's about 300 years old from the colonies, maybe 400 years old when we go to 1619, for example. But officially, it did not become an official nation until 1776. So it's less than 300 years old. It's a young country in any way you want to slice it. It's not as old as, say, Ethiopia or Egypt or even Germany. It's not as old as any of those countries, or even Italy, particularly Italy. It's not as old as those countries. It's a young country. So we need to see, before we see the United States, we need to see a little bit of history of what existed before. See, in the Bible, we are going to be judged on history, our history. Most people want to forget their history, but judgment will not allow you to do that. Just like it didn't allow all of those people that stormed the Capitol to escape what's coming on them now from the Department of Justice. Okay. So now in Revelation, let's start at chapter 12, because the president of the attack on the real Capitol that's going to happen, that the Bible is talking about, is called the dragon. He is going to be the liar that's going to have a crew with him saying, that's really my city. They stole it from me. We got to take our city back and stop the steal. Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So the Bible here defines what the dragon is. The devil is also known as the dragon, otherwise the serpent that was in garden with Eve. Okay, Revelation chapter 13, verse 1 down to verse 4. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. The beast, remember now, it has 7 heads and 10 horns. Remember that. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him, the dragon gave this beast, the devil gave this beast power, seat, and great authority. Verse 3, and I saw one of his heads as it were, or apparently, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. Did it say part of the world? No. All the world wondered after this beast upon which the devil gave power, seat, and authority. That means it has authority on earth. It has power on earth. It has a seat. In other words, a place that everybody recognizes. Verse 4. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Now, I told you to remember the 7 heads and 10 horns because it's also in Revelation 17. So let's look at it. Revelation 17 from verse 1 to 5. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. That means a desolate area, a secret area, the wilderness. What did he see in the wilderness? And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So a woman is sitting on this beast in the wilderness in secret. Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So she was in secret sitting on this 7-headed beast so that you don't know she's sitting there. So when you go back to 13 and you see this beast, you can't see the woman, but she's riding the beast. The woman is the Roman Catholic Church. The beast is the one world government that we are now all in. We're all part of it. The seat is in Rome. But what about the United States, I asked. Remember who controls this woman. Remember who controls and got power, gave power to this beast. It was the dragon. And we know that the dragon is the devil. I'm breaking this down very succinctly for you today. It gets deeper in our Revelation studies, which you could get from the YouTube channel. But let's look at the United States, Revelation 13, verse 11. Revelation 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast. A second one. And it says, I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb. But he spake as a dragon. So this one was wearing a costume that made it look like a young lamb, a young country that represents a lamb. In the Bible, a lamb is representative of the Messiah, the Lamb of Yah, which takes away the sin of the world. Lamb represents the sacrifice for the sins of Israel. So, but this one was dressed like a lamb, but inside was really a dragon. So in other words, we just finished looking at Halloween, right? Well, this one was wearing a Halloween costume, a costume that made it look like a lamb, something that might appear to be Messiah, but is really the devil. Now, something that appears to be Messiah, but is not Messiah, we got a hint from the first beast, because it came after the first beast. And I told you that woman that you can't see sitting on the first beast is the Vatican. That's Roman Catholicism. And so this lamb-like beast is representing Christianity. So whatever this country is, the dominant religion there is Christianity. But Christianity is not biblical. Just like Rome is not biblical. All the evangelicals have their origins in the Roman Catholic Church. Everyone. There's no evangelical church that didn't start in the Roman Catholic Church. They all were reformers, Protestants. What were they reforming? They were supposed to be reforming Rome. That didn't happen. So what happened? They're just daughters of the whore. So this second beast, the United States, represents Christianity. And it makes everybody think that it's mild-mannered, that it's fair. But inside is the dragon. Let's continue. Verse 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do. You see, miracles in the Bible are not always good things. They're just amazing things. They're just powerful things. Not always good. Like, in other words, an atomic bomb is a miracle because of the awesome destruction it could do. Fire being shot from helicopters, that's a miracle because of the awesome destruction and death it could bring. Okay? And it deceived the earth by these things. So now we got a nation that leads the earth and is deceiving the earth. Okay. You have three entities controlling the earth right now, according to the Bible. The dragon, which we saw, the beast, which we saw, and the false prophet. The false prophet is the one that's doing these miracles. That's the United States. False prophet. In other words, representing Christianity. False prophet. Now, there's going to come a time where the Most High is going to have his people standing on a sea of glass. The Bible says it. And while they're standing on the sea of glass, plagues are going to come to the earth. One of those plagues, well, let me show you the sea of glass part first. That's Revelation chapter 15. Revelation 15 from verse 1. Verse 1, let's read from verse 1 down to verse 8. Revelation 15, 1 to 8. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues. For in them is filled up the wrath of Yah. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name. In other words, everything in Revelation 13 that came from Rome through the United States. Stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Yah. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of Yah, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Al Shaddai. And just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Yahweh, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. And after that I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was opened. That is the sanctuary in the third heaven. It was opened. And 7 angels came out of the temple, having the 7 last plagues, clothed in pure and white linen, and having their breasts girded with golden girdles. And one of the 4 beasts gave unto the 7 angels 7 golden vials, full of the wrath of Yah, who liveth forever and ever. And the temple was filled with smoke from the glory of Yah and from his power, and no man was able to enter the temple till the 7 angels of the 7 plagues, seven plagues, of the 7 angels were fulfilled. So we're on the sea of glass. At that time, plagues come on the earth. We're standing on the sea of glass in some suspension because the Bible says we'll go up. Not everybody, just the redeemed. There's a resurrection. And the redeemed from all ages are resurrected with those of us that are alive. And we're all on the sea of glass. Okay. At that time, the plagues will fall, the 7 last plagues on the planet. One of those 7 last plagues is very interesting. It's Revelation chapter 16, verse 12. The 6th plague. It's not like it's a disease like the other ones, or some, event that is from a plague in terms of guns or anything like that. It's not a bomb. Let's read. Revelation 16, beginning at verse 12. And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. That's the river of Babylon. And the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. So the water of Euphrates doesn't exist in Babylon now because there is no Babylon. There's Iraq, but it's a spiritual right here. Because before the Israelites took the promised land the first time, there was the river Jordan, and that was dried up before they came over and took Jericho. So this is a similar imagery. In other words, it's a prelude to a takeover. Let's continue. And I saw 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, the devil, out of the mouth of the beast, Rome, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, Christianity. They are the spirits of devils working miracles. They'll be given power to work miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of Al Shaddai. So there's a battle. They're being prepared. What do you suppose the devil is telling them? What do you suppose? Let's look at some other scriptures. Who are these people anyway? Let's look at Ezekiel chapter 39. Ezekiel chapter 39 is describing the same event. Most people don't know that because most people don't read their Bible. But Ezekiel 39 is describing the same event. And let's look at it. Ezekiel chapter 39, beginning at verse 1. Ezekiel 39, beginning at verse 1. Therefore, thou son of man, prophesy against Gog. So before we saw a lamb-like beast that spake as a dragon. We saw the beast, the dragon, and the false prophet. Now we're seeing Gog. And say, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Who are these people? Gog and Meshach and Tubal. Who are they? Genesis 10 tells us. We're not going to go there now, but read the first 5 verses of Genesis chapter 10, and you will know they're the European people of today. The same people that attacked the Capitol on January 6th. Let's continue. Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 2. And I will turn thee back. So he has to be turned back. That means they're coming. And he said, I'm going to turn you back. Let's read some more. And leave but the 6th part of thee, and will cause thee to come from the north parts, and will bring thee upon the mountains of Israel. So now we're getting a picture. So Gog and Magog Meshach, Tubal, and them, they're going to be coming upon the mountains of Israel. They're coming at, and they're going to be turned back. 6 of them are going to live. 5, 6 are going to be destroyed. They're coming. They're coming to take their city back. They're coming to stop the steal. They're led by the same group of people that you saw on January 6th. Except now, instead of there being a couple of 100,000, maybe tens of thousands, millions, multiple millions coming. Okay? And they're coming upon the mountains of Israel. Why would they do that? We'll read that. But first, let's continue. And I will smite thy bow out of thy left hand and cause thy arrows to fall out of thy right hand. See, because they trust in their weapons like they did on January 6th. They're going to come armed. But it's not going to help them. He just said, I'm going to smite your bows and your arrows and your weapons. They're not going to help you. Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel. Oh, you're going to die there. And thou and all thy bands and the people that is with thee, and I will give thee to the ravenous birds of every sort and to the beasts of the field to be devoured, dead bodies. And thou shalt fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, said the Most High Yahweh. And I will send a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles. And they shall know that I am Yahweh. And I will make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel, his true people. And I will not let them pollute my name anymore, for the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, the Holy One in Israel. Okay, so there's an attack on the mountains of Israel by Gog and Magog. Well, let's go back to Revelation. Why would they come to the mountains of Israel? Why would they do that? Revelation chapter 21. Revelation 21, beginning at verse 1. Well, no. Revelation 20. No, let me go to Revelation 19. Revelation 19. I'm going to start at verse 11. Revelation 19, verse 11. Revelation 19, verse 11. Let's start there. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So the one sit coming on the cloud and the white horse said he getting ready to judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed in a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yahweh. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he would smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and treadeth the winepress and fierceness of wrath of Al Shaddai. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Most High, that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and the flesh of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies, that is, the leadership of the planet, gathered together, just like Revelation 16 said, to make war against him that sat on a horse and against his army. They're coming to take their country back. They're coming to stop the steal. They're coming because their guy, the devil, really won the election. And he is the rightful ruler of this earth. But they're going to be met by this one on the white horse, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. They're going to have a problem because the Bible said they're going to fall on the mountains of Israel because they're coming at the city. Why would they come at the city? Revelation chapter 21. Revelation chapter 21, beginning at verse 1. Revelation 21, beginning at verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yah out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So the city of the New Jerusalem is going to come down and set on the mountains of Israel. There's something in there that those people want. They're just not taking the city itself. They want to, but there's something in there they want. What is in there? Revelation chapter 22. Revelation chapter 22. Verse 1 and 2. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Yah and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. So there's a tree of life in the middle of the city. And if anyone eats of that tree, they will live forever. Let's continue. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 14, because it also speaks of the same thing. Zechariah chapter 14. Let's start. Let's see. I'm going to start at verse 1, and I'm going to read down to verse 7. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. The city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half the city shall go forth into captivity, and the resident of the people shall not be cut off. Then shall Yahweh go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof, the east toward the east and toward the west, and there shall be a very great valley. And half the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And ye shall flee in the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee as ye fled from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And Yahweh, my Most High, shall come, and all the saints with thee. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to Yahweh, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. That's the same thing Revelation says about the city, that they don't shut the gate by day, because there's no night there, right? Same thing. So he is going to destroy the people as they come at the city. They're coming at the city because they're being told that it's really their leader's city. The dragon is not going to come with pitchfork and horns and red suit. He's going to come as a very nice looking, powerful looking being that's going to tell the people, that's my city. It's being stolen. And our only hope of survival is taking it. We got to go back and take our city back. And we have to destroy all of those people inside. The difference, though, is it's not going to be armed policemen like on January 6th. It's going to be redeemed people in new bodies that can never die. It's going to be angels 10, 12, 20 feet tall with swords. It's going to be Messiah with his sword and his white horse. They will stand no chance. And instead of just being arrested, they're going to be mowed down and destroyed. And they're going to be those taken captive, including the devil himself, taken captives and put in a grave called the pit. And the beast and the dragon, all the religious leaders being destroyed and thrown into a lake of fire. Let's take a look at that. Back to Revelation chapter 19. Revelation chapter 19. Back to Revelation chapter 19. Let's start where we left off here. Revelation chapter 19, verse 19. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken. That means captured. Who's the beast? All the religious leaders that you see that are lying to you. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet. All the religious leaders in the United States that's lying to you. that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceiveth them that received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These were both cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. So you got all the religious leaders, the Catholic religious leaders, the Christian religious leaders, and the devil himself. Now, if you notice, the devil didn't get cast into the lake of fire yet. That's for the second resurrection. He gets put in a grave with the other people that's going to be judged in the second resurrection. Just like on January 6th, all them people that stormed the Capitol and sat in all these politicians' offices and broke up stuff, they're now on trial. So just here, they're going to be all destroyed and resurrected, except for the religious leaders. They're not going to be resurrected. They're destroyed permanently. You don't hear about Babylon again after this. It's over. The second resurrection is just Gog and Magog coming back from their resurrection. The second resurrection of death. That's the resurrection of damnation, the second one. The first one is the holy resurrection of the holy peoples from all over the time from Adam until now. But the second one is only for the lost, the condemned. So the people that are attacked here, it says, and the remnant of them were slain with the sword of him that sat on the horse, while sword proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. They're going to be resurrected again. A second resurrection, all their dead brothers and fathers that were wicked. And they're going to be judged, just like the people of January 6th are being judged now. Only thing, these guys, January 6th, what? They're going to go to jail for a little while. But the judgment of the second resurrection, Revelation chapter 20, beginning at verse 7. And when the 1,000 years were expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth. See, it's the second resurrection. There are many more of them than the first one. They went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about and the beloved city. And fire come down from Yah out of heaven and devoured them. By the way, we just read Ezekiel 39. This part is Ezekiel 38. So you want to know what's happening here in the second resurrection? It's Ezekiel 38. They're very similar. As you see here, there's two resurrections. In the first one, some of the heathen are saved. In the second one, no heathen is saved. It's a resurrection of judgment. Okay. Verse 10. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are. That's permanent. And shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yah, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged, every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. The book of life is that seven seal book that Messiah starts opening in Revelation chapter 6. That's the book of life. And when he's done opening it, he returns. And when he returns, you're going to see January 6th on a scale that you can't even imagine. There'll be no resurrection of wickedness in the first when he come back. It's only resurrection of the righteous. So the wicked people that's all around you right now, them's the ones. Them's the one you're going to see. And the ones that are being raised as little Luciferians right now, and the little Luciferian Caucasian churches and all of them, them's the ones that you're going to see. Just a few years from now. Let's see. 2021, no more than 10 years, maybe 11 years from now, you're going to see it. It's going to be huge. In the meantime, you're going to see all kinds of things happen. The Earth's population is going to be reduced. Why? Because the people of Gog and Magog are not growing the way they want to. which is why they wanted Donald Trump to appoint 3 conservative judges to try to overturn Roe v. Wade, because their population is decreasing. They can see it. Their scientists can see it. So meantime, they're trying to raise their population and reduce the population of anybody else. Okay? Because it's prophesied for them to run the earth until this time. But their time is being fulfilled. It's almost over. And so in the meantime, you're going to see wars. You're going to see more diseases. You're going to see more death. Because the devil is trying to consolidate his power. You're going to see people that are seeking righteousness be attacked and murdered. You're going to see others be protected. You're going to see it because it's already started. See, just as January 6th was a small prelude to what's going to be in a few years, so was this COVID, a small prelude. So is this global warming, a small prelude to what's coming just the next few years. See, so like if y'all was alive, an adult or of mine on September 11, 2001, that's one of them days where like if you were an American citizen, if you were in America that day, it's one of them days like you remember where you were. Like I remember where I was the day Martin Luther King was assassinated. I remember where I was that day. Well, some people remember where they were the day, if you're old enough, the day John F. Kennedy was assassinated. You remember where you were that day. Well, 9/11 was one of them days where you just remember where you were that day. Okay, you remember where you were. And it was a horrific day for everybody. It was a horrific day. Scary day. And if I was, or if anyone was to tell you there are worse things coming after this, you wouldn't have believed them. Or you think that they were scaring people. You know, there's no COVID coming. There's no 2008 economic collapse coming. There's no 20-year war coming where thousands of people get destroyed, hundreds of thousands in the Middle East and thousands in the United States. No, that's not going to happen. But it did. It did. They said at that time that by 2090, they said, you can have a global warming problem. Well, it's been 20 years. And now it's here. It's not 2090. It's here now. And I'm saying to y'all now, I'm not saying it. The word is showing us. Let me put it that way. Let me not take credit. The word is showing us. The Father is showing us. In the next 10 years, it's going to be multiplied times worse. And his angels are now gathering around to protect his servants even now. With the power of righteousness and grace even now. And those that are trusting in lies because it fits their agenda, like on January 6th, are being prepared for their destruction coming in a few years. So if you're into truth, you should be rejoicing because all this suffering is going to come to an end soon. If you're of the lie, you're very sad because you got an agenda that includes the continuation of things as they are. But whatever side you're on, I just told you the truth. I told you the truth from this book. Read that book. Start in Genesis. Go from Genesis to Exodus, Leviticus to Numbers to Deuteronomy, and keep on going. Joshua, Judges, Ruth, all the way through to Revelation. It's a long journey. It will take you a year, but read it. Right now, I'm in Romans and Psalms. That's where I'm at right now. Romans and Psalms. Read through the book. This is my 19th time reading it. Read through the book. It's going to tell you everything that we just see what happened just now. I just explained to you with January 6th that it was a prelude. The Most High showed us it was a prelude. You know that the COVID virus is a prelude, and the global warming with the earthquakes and the floods and the tornadoes, it's a prelude. And the hurricanes and the typhoons, it's a prelude. And the murders and the people with no conscience that walk into churches and just mow people down. It's a prelude. You're getting ready to see a lot worse. But it's okay. We have to go through a bridge of fire. But once we cross that bridge, it's all over. The kingdom will be established. See, all of those people that are listening to me to go tell the government what I'm saying, go ahead and do that. I ain't got no guns. You ain't got to worry about me. I got angels. I got the power of Father's Spirit with me. That's all I need. And if I'm lying, you ain't got nothing to worry about, right? If I'm just telling the story, if this book is not true, if I'm not reading it right, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But I'm saying you do got something to worry about. And I'm telling you, you won't have to wait long to see it. So if you're rejoicing in truth, if you really have love, you're not rejoicing in iniquity, rejoicing in truth, praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. You understand? Praise the Most High. He will keep you. He will give you courage. He will strengthen you. He will guide you with wisdom. He will put you in a proper position that you need to be in on that time. Don't worry. The servants of Yah don't have to worry. You see us singing on that sea of glass? You ain't got to worry. Your only concern, let me tell you the truth about it. Our concern is to be faithful to righteousness and truth. That's our concern. To be faithful to righteousness and truth. If we leave righteousness and truth, we're in trouble. It's very simple, isn't it? If you're in truth and righteousness, you ain't got nothing to worry about. That means you're a repentant sinner that's coming with the Spirit of the Father. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Only thing you got to worry about is to leave your Father. That's your only problem. But if you're not into truth, if you have been self-deceived and lying to yourself and willfully ignorant, you're going to have a problem. Those are the people that are going to hate what I said today. Those are the people that are going to be so mad at me. But I'm going to have to tell you the truth. Here's the last truth of the night. I don't care. I'm tired of babies getting raped. I'm tired of diseases killing people. I'm tired of people destroying the earth. I'm tired of white supremacy. I'm tired of bombs, bombing people and killing them and destroying innocent families. I'm tired of corruption. I'm tired of cancer. I'm tired of diabetes. I'm tired of kids getting shot. I'm tired of it. So I don't care what you think. I'm rejoicing in this news. January 6th was a model, a prelude of what's coming, y'all. Rejoice. Shalom.